Your video is off.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are doing this program from ISKCON Bengaluru. Today we have with us Suvarna Gowda Haridas Prabhu, who is director of ISKCON South ISKCON Bengaluru. He is basically from Gulbarga, and he chose to become a devotee of Krishna. And he basically studied electronics and communication from RV Engineering College, Bengaluru, and worked in IBM for 4 years as engineer in associate software engineer, and he started his spiritual journey by from early onwards. His life he used to with Bhagavad Gita, and he was very much interested in his devotional service to there. From there, uh, today he is serving as a devotee in ISKCON from last 10 years. And today we got an opportunity to hear Prabhuji on youth empowerment program, and we used to do many programs in Bengaluru. And today, on our request, Prabhuji is doing a session with Lingarajappa Engineering College. Okay, I hope you can get to know many things throughout the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek, for coordinating and organizing this program. So happy to be with the students of Lingarajappa Engineering College, Bidar. I'm very happy to be with all of you today afternoon to share something very valuable information and knowledge which I have learned in the last many years. And I hope this knowledge will be helpful to each and every one of you. And also it will help you to transform your life and also your career. So this knowledge which you're going to learn today will help you both in your personal life as well as in your career. So I humbly request everyone to be attentive for next. We have for 1 hour till 1 o'clock, right, Abhishek?
Yes, Prabhu. Till 1 o'clock.
So I'll speak for about 35 minutes, 40 minutes. And then we'll have some time for question answers at the end. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask at the end. Okay. So before beginning the session, I'll do a short prayer to invoke the blessings of the Lord. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvisheshunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurav Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I hope I am audible and my voice is clear and there is no disturbance. So okay, thank you Shukumar for giving the thumbs up. And if possible, we can have your videos on, and if your network is not supporting, you can keep it off also, not a problem. But whatever you are doing, please pay attention because this is a very short session organized by the college for your benefit. So youth is a lifetime where there's a lot of dynamics, a lot of challenges, a lot of dreams, and a lot of fears also come at that time. I interact with a lot of students, students from college as well as in schools. So, and each one has different challenge. I'll just share a PPT which will help you to understand the concepts which I'm sharing. So recently, the world has gone through one challenge, which is the challenge of this pandemic. So we had this pandemic and the whole virus was changing the world, and the world was closed for many months. And now again, the world has got opened. So at that time, all the hotels, all the malls, all the shops, even the buses were also stopped. So no entry to any of these things, and we were locked down at home for many months. And then we were wondering what happened suddenly. The whole world has come to a full stop. And nobody had ever imagined that one small tiny virus could stop the entire world. That's the power of one small virus. It can even make the big grown-up youth follow the bed for many weeks. So that's the power of a small virus. So it makes us question that what is this world? Who is in control? Is there any solution to all these problems? And there is some nice quotes which I'll start the session with. There's one quote which says that we buy things we do not need with money we do not have to impress those whom we hate. Do you understand? We buy things we don't need. Like people go to the malls and buy many things which they don't need. They want to buy a toothbrush, they end up buying 10 other things. With money they don't have, means what, credit cards. They buy on loan. And to impress those whom we hate. So this is the paradox of this world. So we're living a very shallow, artificial life. Once somebody asked Dalai Lama, when asked what surprised him most about humanity, Dalai Lama answered, man sacrifices his health in order to make money. Then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. Right? Like nowadays, people work very hard, 16 hours, 18 hours to earn money. And in the process, lose their health. And then, in order to gain the health, they spend their money. Right? So, and then he's so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The future being that he does not live in the present or the future. So the result being that he does not live in the present or the future. Many times we are right now worrying about future and he forget living right now. So instead we keep worrying about the future and we lament about the past. And this hankering and lamenting, what happens? We forget about the future and we're not happy now. We are morose. He lives as if he is never going to die and then dies having never really lived. So people actually don't live. They're just spending their time. They don't know what is life. So this session today is here to enlighten us about what is life and what is the goal of life. Like this is the typical life of a person. Right? So a person is born, then he goes to school, then he makes some friends, and then in the school is told that get good grades, then you can get a good college, you can graduate, and then you get a good job. And then fall in love, get married, have a baby, divorce. Sometimes divorce also. Sometimes go to foreign countries, then retire. After retirement, make a will. I give my property to so and so person, and then die. Again, what? After death, what? Again born, again school, again friends. Is this what is life? The life all about? It's like a circle going round and round and round. Is there no purpose for this life? Where does it end? Should we keep going again and again? This is called samsara. Punarapi janana, punarapi marana, punarapi janani, jatare sharam. So we go round and round. So this is not life. Of course, this is how people live life, but life is more than this. We'll try to discuss today about this. And sometimes life is like a rat race. Everybody is running, I'm also running. Oh, he is going for that job, I'll also go for that job. Who is going to this college, I'll also go to this college. He is going to this, he is going that. Just rat race. People are running without asking question where you are running. And when you're running, the first thing is to ask where you are running, not how fast you are running. And once a person was driving his car, he went very, very fast. He was going so fast because in front of there's another car which is going fast. So he wanted to overtake him. So in a competition, he went so far that he forgot to take a right turn, which he was supposed to take 10 kilometers back. So he wasted his time and energy. So life has become like a rat race. From morning to night, they keep running without any goal. See, animal, it eats, then it struggles to survive and then reproduce. This animal eats, survive and reproduce. This animal also, it eats, struggles to survive and reproduces. This animal also does the same thing. And what about this animal? Are we also supposed to just eat, survive and reproduce? There is no purpose, higher purpose for human life. So we have to find out what is the higher purpose for human life. See, in this modern world, people have this paradoxes. They have bigger houses but small hearts. Some people have big house, but they don't allow anybody inside the home. And they have big dog, and there's a notice: beware of dogs. People have more medicines but less health. People have more comforts but lesser time. People don't have time to talk to each other. They're busy enjoying comforts. So that's why it's important to ask the question: who am I? Why is there pain and suffering in this world? And what is the goal of life? So these are some of the questions which we are supposed to ask in our life. And by asking these questions, we'll be able to find a purpose in our life. So that's the purpose of this today's session, to help us understand what we are, where we are heading towards, and as youths in our life, how we can make our life better. Today I was trying to speak on one topic called art of mind control, that how it is so important that we try to control our own mind. Then we will be able to find answer to all these questions, and we will be able to have a purpose in our life. Let us see some hidden facts. There are some strange facts which you'll be shocked to hear. See, children aged between 8 to 18 spend 7 hours and 38 minutes a day using entertainment media. Means what? They're spending their time on internet. Nowadays, internet addiction has become a big problem. People are always on their cell phone and wasting their time. Excessive use of digital devices has led to 46% of adults suffer from psychological disorder called ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Means people cannot sit idle for even few seconds. Every 6 seconds, their mind is going to do different activity. They cannot sit idle for a long time. So I was traveling, and I saw one person holding some tool in his hand. He was rotating it. I asked, what is this? He said, it's fidget tool. Fidget tool means what? His hands cannot sit idle. They have to operate something. So that's why they are giving this item with which he can play. So people's mind has become so restless, like a monkey. Students admit that social media networks are the cause of their poor grades. Many people are wasting their time on Facebook, and WhatsApp messages and other things. So their mind is become so disturbed that grades are going low. And 15% of the boys in the age 15 to 19 are addicted to alcohol. And depression is a big thing among the students. Right? Around 2 to 12%. It has increased in the last 5 years. And people are feeling depressed, alone, misery, dark-minded, agony. Right? These are the problems which they are facing now. So recently, I saw one girl. She was studying 12th standard, and then she somehow had a problem that she could not cope with. And she had such a tremendous pressure from all sides to perform well in her studies that she could not bear it. She was not able to perform. She went into depression, and she jumped from the top floor of a building. So she committed suicide. Why she committed suicide? Because she didn't know what is the purpose of life. Right? There is higher purpose of life. There are more better things to be done in life than committing suicide. But she was not aware, because that vision is not there. She just thought that the goal of life is to get better marks. No, there are people who are happy even with lesser marks, because they know that the purpose of life is not just earning money, but doing contributing something wonderful for the society. That is service, right? So I hope you are able to understand. So I see that some of you are in the classrooms, and you are sitting in your classrooms and hearing this lecture. So very wonderful. So please pay attention here. So the goal of life is much more than just earning money and getting good marks. Getting good marks is very important, but the life is much more than just earning money and getting good marks. 6% of boys in age 13 to 15 smoke. 15% of non-smokers likely to initiate smoking next year. Very strange statistics. And you see the number of crimes are increasing in India day by day. Number of murders, number of rapes, number of kidnaps increasing. And there are many weapons of mass distraction. So many social media websites are there which are distracting people from their goal of life. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Amazon. And of course, there are some good things also in this, but there are so many bad things, dirty things coming which are disturbing the mind of the youth. There was a student who recently, he went to the school with a weapon and he stabbed his friends in the school. Why? Because he was watching such kind of movies on the internet, and he was also playing such kind of games in the internet. Like nowadays, there is a game called PUBG, where they keep on shooting the opponent and they kill the opponent. So what will happen if somebody is always thinking of shooting? Then if he gets a revolver in his hand, what he will do? He will naturally shoot. So there are certain viruses in our mind, the bad thoughts in our mind, which has to be removed. So this is the modern day college scenario. Everybody has a mobile phone and they're busy with their phone and hardly interact with each other. Everybody has got smart gadgets, but hardly anybody has friends. People have thousands of Facebook friends, but hardly any real friends in their life. People feel lonely. So how to attain peace, concentration, and happiness in such chaos? That is the question. So we'll try to answer this question. So we'll try to learn the art of concentration through mind control, how to control our mind. And this session is based on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the divine song of God. So many of you must be aware of this book called Bhagavad Gita. There is a universal book read all over the world by people from all castes and all religions and all nationalities. And it is the most famous book of mind and soul. The essential spiritual truths of life are spoken in this book. So let's try to learn some lessons from this book, and then we will try to take some question answers. Now, before starting this topic of mind control, I just gave an introduction till now that how it is important to control the mind and how the uncontrolled mind leads to so many problems, which I discussed just now. Before going ahead, I just want to ask you a question. How many of you face difficulty in controlling the mind? Please raise your hands. Do you face difficulty in controlling the mind? You can raise your hands or you can put in the chat box. Okay, 8 of them. Only 8 of them. You face this difficulty in controlling the mind. Okay, I see Siddharth, Sudhir, Mahim, Begum, Diresh, Samina, Shaikh. Yes, it's universal. Everybody, even me too. We also face difficulties in controlling the mind because mind is natural by nature. Mind is very fickle and very unsteady. So it's the art. We should learn the art of controlling the mind. Then we can become successful. So any successful person, first thing he does is controls the mind. Any spiritualist, any student, first thing he has to do is control his mind. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says, a controlled mind is a friend, and uncontrolled mind is an enemy. So Krishna is telling to Arjuna here. So Arjuna, he was very disturbed in the beginning of the battle. Arjuna was supposed to fight a battle against Kauravas. Kauravas were bad people and Pandavas were good people. Kauravas were creating so much terror in this world by their sinful activities. And Arjuna, as a Pandava and as a dharmic person, he was supposed to uphold the values of morality by fighting and destroying the opponents. And before this battle, he becomes very, very disturbed in his mind. He goes into a depression and he says, Krishna, I cannot fight. Then Krishna says to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, you're a warrior. You're such a powerful person. Control your mind. Don't allow this weakness to overpower your mind. This Arjuna had told that no, this I'm getting weak, hridaya daurbalyam. My heart is becoming weak and I'm not able to face this audience. So this is the challenge he faces. He is not able to do his duty. So then what happened? Actually, this kind of situations come in our life also. And sometimes we are put in a situation where we become very disturbed. And even in your life also, you might have faced some challenges or situations where you also felt this kind of weakness of the heart or depression. For example, if somebody is shy by nature, somebody is shy, he is not able to speak properly, and he is having stage fear. But if he is caught on the stage and is told, no, you speak for 5 minutes, if he walks on the stage, his mind becomes blank. He's not able to face the audience. Why? Because he is not prepared. His mind is weak. His heart is weak. But if somebody prepares himself, his mind and heart, he prepares himself to that, to face that challenge, he'll be able to perform better. So there'll be some temptations which come in our life. There'll be some opportunities, threats which come in our life, and we have to be ready to face. So we should face the threats and we should grab the opportunities. So successful people are very expert in this. They face the challenges very boldly and they use the opportunities to grow themselves. So in this way, they become successful. So here Arjuna was in such a precarious situation, and at that time Krishna speaks. This is Arjuna speaking. Actually, Krishna told Arjuna, control your mind and try to compose yourself. Sthiranagu. Become steady and then you fight, he said. So then Arjuna says, it's very difficult. Krishna, it's very difficult. Because mind has got certain characteristics. Chanchalam he manah Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Arjuna is telling, Chanchalam, my mind is very chanchala. Chala means flickering. Chanchala means very flickering. It's always jumping from one thought to another thought. Like if you have seen a monkey is never steady. He always keeps doing something, scratching here, jumping from one branch to another branch. It's always unsteady. So mind is also very unsteady, chanchala. It is not able to fix on one thought. Right? For example, its mind says, it keeps jumping from one thought to another. Like it says, tomorrow is examination. So which exam? Oh, that subject is very tough. So how should I prepare? I should go and take notes from there. Oh, but that notes is not very good. I should go and study that reference book. That reference book is very good. Oh, but it's very difficult to understand. So let me go to some study guide. So like this mind, it's constantly flickering from one thought to another thought. So that is the nature of mind. It's very fickle, chanchala. And not just chanchala, pramati. Pramati means it is mad. It is chanchala but very mad. Balavad, very strong, like an elephant. Like an elephant is very strong, but if it is a mad elephant, it's even more strong. Right? You can see some videos. Is there on YouTube now? A mad elephant, it can even lift a vehicle. I saw one video where elephant was lifting your auto and throwing it away. It is so powerful. So mind is also very powerful. Pramati balabad. Dridam. Dridam andre, it is very obstinate. It is like jiddi. If it fixes his mind on something, it wants it. I want that. I want it. It craves for it. Like sometimes you see some children, they want a chocolate. They go to a shop and they want a chocolate from the shop, and mother says, no, I'll not give. It's bad for you. But then child starts crying and he starts waving his hands and legs and then rolling on the ground. I want chocolate. I want chocolate. So then mother is forced to give chocolate. So like this, mind is very dridam, jiddi. And then he says, tasyaham nigraham manye vayo riva shudushkaram. And to control the mind, is more difficult than controlling the wind. So Arjuna is telling that at that time people had this powers by which they could stop the wind, they could produce rain, they could create fire just by mantras. So Arjuna could shoot an arrow with mantras and it could do miracles. So Arjuna, he says that I can control the wind, but mind is very difficult to control. So in our case also, in you and my case also, our mind is very fickle and we have to try to control it. Right? So because of lack of mind control, people get into bad habits like smoking, drinking, and nowadays drugs is a big problem. So many youths, especially in North India, they're getting addicted to these drugs, and drug smuggling is going on, and people initially a little taste is given free of cost, and when they get addicted, they loot a lot of money. It's very, very costly affair, and people end up in jail. Some end up addicted. I recently went to an de-addiction center for doing a program for the youth. There are also so many youths admitted in that de-addiction center. Very well educated engineers, doctors, top companies. They all got into this habit of taking drugs, and some of them realized that we are in trouble, so we cannot get out of it. So they went into rehabilitation center for 1 month. They take some treatment where they stay away from these bad habits, and then they overcome, and then they get out of this bad habits. So bad habits are very easy to develop, but very difficult to give away. Right? So bad habits are like soft beds, very easy to sleep, but in the morning to get up, very difficult. Because bed is so soft, you put a chadar and you sleep. So it's very, very difficult to give bad habits, but it is possible if we try to control the mind by higher taste, by practice. It is possible. So let's see today some techniques of how to control the mind. So solution to all problems is control mind. What is the mind? Let's try to analyze. According to Bhagavad Gita, the mind is a storehouse of thoughts, unfulfilled desires, and previous experiences. That's the mind. And the senses are like the 5 senses are connected to the mind. Okay. Eyes, nose, tongue, ear, skin. So these are the knowledge acquiring senses. We see through the eyes, we smell through the nose, we taste through the tongue, we hear through the ears, and touch through the skin. And all these inputs go to the mind and they're stored in the mind. And based on what thoughts are stored in the mind, mind gives suggestions. Okay, we'll do that. So if we keep putting positive things into the mind will give us positive suggestions. And if we keep putting negative suggestions to the mind, then mind will start provoking us to do wrong things. If you have a computer has got a hardware and then has got a software. Hardware works depending upon the quality of software. Okay. So we have a smartphone, then you smartphone. So in the smartphone, if the virus goes, it hangs. But if software is clean, it works very fast. Otherwise, the phone hangs. So the software is the mind and the body. Please try to understand this very important example. The hardware is the body and the software is the mind. Depending on the software, the hardware functions. Okay, so that is the concept which we are supposed to understand. So the user who starts the phone, that is the Atma, soul. So the soul, the mind, and the body, all three are connected. The soul detects the mind makes the body function, the senses function. So there is a connection here. So the mind is connected to the senses. And the mind is also governed by intelligence, which is the decision maker. So Manah, Buddhi and Indriya. So this is compared to a horse, the chariot driven by horses. This comes in Kathopanishad. This analogy says that the body, the human body, is like a ratha. And the passenger who is sitting here with white dress is the Atma. Atmanam ratham vidhi shariram ratam evacha. So Atma is the rathi and Sharira is the ratha. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi manapragraham evacha. Buddhi or the intelligence is the driver and the mind is the ropes. And the horses are the 5 indriyas or senses. Now, if we have to reach our destination properly, the horses should go in a proper direction. If the horses are not controlled, then each horse will go in different direction. And when they go in different directions, we will not be able to reach our destination. Right? On the road, suppose from Bidar you are coming to Gulbarga, where I am right now. So if you are coming in the chariot and the one horse sees, oh, some carrot is there on the road, you want to eat that. Another horse sees some radish, another horse sees some cabbage. So all 3 horses go in different direction. What will happen? We cannot reach the destination. So what the driver should do, he should pull the rope. When the rope is pulled, then all the horses come in straight line. And then they can reach the destination. So the mind should be strong and the intelligence also should be strong so that he can pull the ropes. And when you pull the ropes, the horses come in line. Similarly, the senses have to be controlled by the mind. For that, mind should be strong. We also have our senses. Eyes want to see something. Right? Sometimes people see dirty things with their eyes. Some people want to hear something. People want to taste something. Right? So all the senses are pulling us in different directions. So what will happen? We will not be able to focus on our duty. So you are sitting for your studies, but then there is a temptation. Tomorrow's exam, I'm sitting for studies, but one of the friend comes and says, no, let's play a video game. Let's play one game. So it's very tempting. If somebody is addicted to video games, number internet games, online games, it is very tempting. Oh, let's do it. And he sits for playing 1 hour, but it ends up in 5 hours. Right? Because the game's addiction is like that. Once you enter, you cannot come out. So he could have said no, but instead of saying no, he said yes. That's the problem. So he should not have done it, but he did it. So willpower means what? Doing what is supposed to be done. Right? The power to do what is supposed to be done, and power to say no to those things which are not supposed to be done. Right? So that's called willpower. Doing the right thing. That's called willpower. And saying no to the wrong thing. That's also willpower. So we should have the strength to say yes, and we should have the strength to say no to bad things and yes to good things. So that is willpower. So that has to be developed. So the secret of developing that, I'll tell you now. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I see some hands raising. In case you have questions, we will take after 10 minutes. So I'll be ending my presentation in 10 minutes. After that, we can take some questions till 1 o'clock. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmana jitaha anatmanattu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. Krishna is telling to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, a person who has controlled his mind, for him, bandhu, the mind is like a bandhu or a friend. But a person who has not controlled his mind, for him, the mind is a shatruvat. Shatru means an enemy. So mind can act like a friend, it can act like an enemy also. It depends upon whether it's controlled or uncontrolled. For example, Knife. Knife is good or bad? What do you think? We can put in the chat. A knife, a chaku, is it good or bad? What do you say? As you can put in the chat box. Good or bad? All of us use knife. We in our home, sometimes in college, in the laboratories, sometimes in the hospital, use the knife. So whether it's good or bad, how to determine? It depends upon how one. Okay, we're getting a response here. Mohammed Abdul is telling depends on the way how do you use it. Correct, very correct. Emmanuel is telling mercy, it depends on usage. Correct. So you both are right. So knife is neither good nor bad, depends upon who is handling it. Right? If a thief is handling it, you see here this thief is having a knife and is killing. But if the same knife is in a doctor's hand, the doctor will save him. Right? He will do the surgery and will save the life of the patient. So knife is good or bad depends upon who is using it. Similarly, the mind also is good or bad depending upon who is using it or how it is being used. Like, for example, a person who is a servant, social servant, he is doing wonderful service. He is distributing food. Like in COVID time, ISKCON also distributed a lot of food to the people who are in need. Some people give clothes. Some people are always thinking about how to serve the society. So their mind is very good. But there are some people's minds who are wanting to create trouble. So they want to do thievery, or they want to do terrorism, or they want to put bombs, or they are inventing certain softwares to hack, right, and leak certain secret information. So the same mind, but they're using it in a wrong way. So mind is neither good or bad. It depends upon how it is being used. So how to control the mind? So before trying to control the mind, we should see how the mind functions. So here is an example of a smoking habit. Let's take an example of a smoking. So how the mind thinks, mind feels, and intelligence thinks. So mind feels, I'm an engineer. Like most of you are also engineers, so studying. I should know how to hold a cigar at least. At least pakadna to chahiye. I have seen Shah Rukh Khan holding, I have seen Amir Khan holding his cigarette in his hand. I should also hold. If I'm a man, I should also hold. So like that you will think. So then intelligence thinks, oh, but that's a bad habit, not good for you. Your parents won't like you to see you doing this. You may become addicted to it. Don't get into wrong track. So the intelligence gives good suggestions. ये अच्छा नहीं है. पिताजी क्या बोलेंगे? पैसा कमा देंगे. So then mind says, I think it's fun. मजा करना चाहिए ना. Everyone is doing it. My friend is doing it. He is doing it. He is doing it. She is also doing it. I will also do it. I should experience what's life at least once. एक बार तो चखने दो. And बुद्धि क्या बोलता है? Hey मूर्ख, you are a fool. Why do you hurt yourself by this bad habit? It will waste your money. It ruins your good health. May cause you cancer in the future. Stop it. Don't even dream about it. Right? Don't you know this person, he was smoking and now he has got lung cancer. And he's admitted to the hospital. He spent lakhs of rupees to get treated. So mind, intelligence is strong chastisement. Now who will win? Mind or intelligence? There's a tug of war happening. You're able to see the tug of war? Mind is saying, I want to smoke. And intelligence is saying, no, don't do it. Now there's tug of war. Yes or no? Yes or no? Now in this tug of war, who will win? What do you say? The mind or intelligence? Yes, I want to hear some response. You can chat, put in the chat. Who will win, the mind or intelligence? Okay, Mohammed Abdul is telling intelligence. Okay, and Arundhati is telling intelligence. Okay. Okay, Shahbaz is telling intelligence. Okay, it's telling according to me, it is intelligence. It will be. Okay, but we see that still so many people are smoking. Why is it so? If intelligence wins all the time, why people are smoking? They know it is bad. Right? I was once, I just came out of my temple once, and then I was going to my car to go to some place. And next to that car, I saw one person, one student in uniform, and he had a smoke and a cigarette in his hand. Under the tree, hiding, he was smoking. I saw him. He looked at me. I looked at him. Kya chal raha hai? He immediately put his cigarette behind his back. No, nothing. No. You were smoking? Yes, smoking. What are you doing? You are a student? Yes, I am a student. Which college? This college. Then why are you smoking? You are learned. You are intelligent. Don't you know that on the smoking packet it is written smoking kills? Why are you smoking? And he had no answer. It will cause cancer. Why are you smoking? But still he was holding the cigarette. Then he took his bike and he was about to go. I said, stop, throw that cigarette. Put it down first. Then you go. Finally, he threw the cigarette and he went away. So they know it is wrong, but still they are smoking. It means what? Mind is winning. Right? Somebody is saying, no, Sabil is saying, to show his or her standard. Yeah, they smoke to show their standard. Correct. So mind wins or intelligence wins depends upon who is strong. If mind is strong, means mind is strongly addicted to that habit, mind will win. If you have trained the mind to do that wrong activity, mind will win. And if you have trained the intelligence in a strong way, then intelligence will win and will not do that activity. So if mind is strong, mind wins, you succumb to that bad habit. If intelligence is strong, you can resist that temptation. You can say no. So that's how to make intelligence stronger. So there are 3 steps. I'm going to end this presentation with these 3 steps. First thing is withdraw the mind. Do not allow the senses to wander stray in any direction they want. Withdraw them from wrong elements. So first thing is to stay away from the tempting things. If some bad habit is disturbing you, stay away from that bad habit. Means what? If somebody is addicted to smoking or somebody is addicted to pornography, somebody is addicted to drinking, stay away. Stay away from people, places, and things which disturb you or which tempt you to do this activity. Stay away. Stay away from those people who invoke you, no, do this, do this, do this. No, stay away. That's the first thing. Okay. Withdraw. Right? You know those Gandhi's 3 monkeys? Right? One monkey is closing his eyes, another monkey ears, another monkey mouth. Bura mat dekho, bura mat suno, bura mat bolo. So that's how we should be. That's the first step. That's not the ultimate step. That's the first step. At least the inputs are stopped. Because what happens? Our mind is like a bin. You put good inside, good comes out. You put bad inside, bad comes out. Generally, we put good or bad through our eyes and ears, and output is through mouth. We speak and our hands. So if we take good things into our mind, we will do good things through our hands, our senses. If we take wrong inputs, we will do wrong activities. So that's very careful what we should take inside. What's the right kind of movies? What's the right kind of read the right kind of books. Don't read wrong books like that. That's withdraw. Second one is engage. Engage the senses and the mind in topics of God or topics of service or humanity. So just withdrawing is not sufficient, but you should engage in the right place. Like when you go to any temple, in front of the temple you see a tortoise, and the tortoise has all the legs outside. Means it is telling that you are entering the temple of the Lord. So you have to engage all your senses. So open your eyes, use your hands, use your legs, and serve, seva karo. So that's what is indicated by the tortoise. So any religious place you go, you should engage all your senses in service. But if you go to a place where there are temptations, what you should do? We should withdraw. We should not engage there. We should be like a turtle. We should, like when a turtle is in danger, it takes all the legs and heads inside. And when there's no danger, it takes them out. So we should be like that, engage. And last point is transcend. Understand the meaning of life by reading thought-provoking wisdom literatures like the Bhagavad Gita, Bible, or the Quran, right? So try to understand the meaning of life by reading these books, which will help us to transcend, which will give us a higher taste, the higher goal, purpose of life. So Bhagavad Gita contains many topics. Like today I touched one topic about soul, Atma. I didn't discuss much about it, I just mentioned it, but I mentioned a lot about mind. And Bhagavad Gita also talks about karma, why good things happen to bad people, why bad things happen to good people. Then it talks about time, it talks about who is God, the creation, the pradaya, everything Bhagavad Gita talks about. So even other religious books also talk about these topics in different details. So that's why we should try to transcend. So what is the first step? First step is to withdraw the mind from wrong things. Second step is to engage the mind in right activities. And third thing is to engage the mind in the topics of God. And the best way to engage is by meditation, by chanting mantras. And in Vedic culture, we chant mantras. And even in other traditions, other religions, even Muslims chant their mantra, Christians chant their mantras, in Jehovah's they chant their mantra, even Sikhs they chant their mantras. Everybody chants mantras. By chanting these mantras, we can control the mind. Especially in ISKCON, we chant this mantra called Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So by repeated chanting of the mantras, what happens? The mind comes under control. This is the meditation which we are supposed to do. And when you do such kind of meditation, what happens? The mind becomes peaceful and composed. By repeatedly doing this meditation, fix the mind on one thought rather than thinking about so many things. Fix the mind on one thought. So that is called the meditation. It goes somewhere, pull it back. So by this, what happens? Our mind can become peaceful and controlled. So then we can become successful in any endeavors. So this is a universal principle. Either it be your studies, either it can be career, it can be your friendships, it can be your personal life, family life, anything. So if you learn this art of controlling mind, it will help you in all fields of life. Okay. So basically today I discussed how the world is going through different changes, different challenges. And in our life also, there are different challenges which may come. There are so many problems in this world. And those problems are due to uncontrolled mind. And the solution is to have a controlled mind. And how to control the mind? I discussed some concept of the physical body, the senses, the mind, intelligence, and Atma. I gave example of the chariot and the chariot driver and the mind and the horses. And then I also discussed about how to control the mind by three things. One is withdraw the mind from wrong things, engage in the right things, and try to study the higher topics from Bhagavad Gita, Bible, and the Quran and other religious books. So in this way, we can control the mind. Okay, so I thank the management of Lingarajappa College for giving this chance to address the students and also Abhishek for coordinating this event. If you have any questions, we can take one or two questions now.
Thank you, Prabhu, for wonderful session on mind control. I request the student, if you have any questions, you can ask to the Prabhuji right now.
Yeah, either you can unmute and ask. or you can put it in the chat. Yes. Are there any questions? Okay. I think there are no questions. We see few people on the Zoom still. Okay. Shiv Kumar says, thank you so much, sir, from EEE department. He's studying in EEE. Yes. So we have Abhishek, who is staying in Bidar itself, and he is very actively involved in these youth programs. And his youth programs are very, very vital and essential. And if any one of you wants to get connected to these youth programs, which Abhishek does, and we do in Gulbarga also. We're doing in many schools and colleges in Gulbarga and Bangalore. So if you wish to learn more, I just give a very short glimpse, and you wish to know more about these topics, then please get in touch with us. Would you like to put your phone number, Abhishek?
Yes, Prabhu.
You can put in the chat. So anybody wants to contact, they can contact Abhishek. He is putting the number in the chat box. Yes, 903 6280 Okay. So thank you, Abhishek Guru. I think we can end here.
Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful session. And I will thank you to the students who are all attended this session. And thank you to the management and the coordinators of Lingarajappa College. Thank you, each and everyone.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.